Give me Vaughn. You mean Rick Vaughn?
Yeah. He's pitching to Beck, not Parkman.
He wants the righty! The vile thing! The grab your throat and choke thing!
Pull it out your ass, lard mouth.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
It's here. It is here. Finally. Thank God. Baseball is back. Spring training officially starts. Thank goodness. I don't know how much more I could take. It's the best part of the year. Oh, baseball, man. My first love. My first love, baseball. I don't know if a lot of people can really say that. Maybe the other person that's doing the show with me tonight, but Real Take Nation, what's going on? I'm super pumped. Huge show tonight. Obviously, it's our baseball show. We're going to split it into a two-part segment, but I'll get into that in a little bit. But my name's Alex Washington, a.k.a. A-Wash, coming in live from, well, not really live, it's recorded, coming in from dirty-ass basement studios right in smack dab of New Auburn, where stoops are the shit. And coming in from Lisbon, huge baseball nut, his name is Adam Little. Adam, what's going on, man?
What's up?
Good tune.
Nice 50-degree day today.
Negative
Baseball
50 right now.
started.
Negative 50 right now.
Yeah, we live in Maine. It won't hit 50 until like July.
You know better. Don't expect what you're getting in Florida, ever.
What was the weather there today? About 75, 80?
Yeah, probably clear skies, humidity.
When
Meanwhile, my
fat boy Hanley rolled out onto the field.
Oh, cut
his
it
first
out!
baseman's mitt.
Cut it out! You're ridiculous. You know that glove that he's got. It's got almost a Gold Glove in it, right?
That's as close as he'll ever come to one.
I made a bet today with first round draft pick who still unable to make it. He's got some other things going on right now, but hopefully we'll have him back soon. Over under 7.5 errors by Hanley Ramirez at first base. Should he play a full year at first? Over or under 7.5?
Way over.
Under.
No way. Double
Under.
digits easily.
Cut it out. So, anyways,
It's gonna be a train wreck.
you're gonna be a train wreck after you see what kind of Gold Glove first base he plays.
You're ridiculous. Your true Homer colors are shining through.
Oh, I love getting you going, man. Anything that has to do with Hanley, man, it doesn't take much to get you all friggin' riled up. Perfect.
The problem is I like him. I think he has all the talent. He just puts in no effort, and he's a cancer in the clubhouse.
Yeah, well, it happens. Unfortunately. Hopefully he turns it around. Kind of need him to. But we'll get into that. Baseball show. Obviously, welcome to the baseball show. This is going to be our preview / predictions going into the 2016 season. We're gonna do this in a two-part segment. We're gonna have the National League and we're gonna have the American League. This show is gonna be based on our National League predictions and projections, if you will. We'll have all the division winners with predicted win-loss records. We'll talk about key free agent signings and trades that they had. We'll also get into award winners as well. So I don't know if I said division winners and wild cards, but if I did, I'll just repeat myself. Division winners, wild cards, you name it. We got it all here on the Trifectas Unleashed, presented by Real Take No Holds Barred Sports. So we're going to do a quick Face the Nation. I think we only got 2 questions that we're going to go with. We still got plenty from you guys that we're still kind of sifting through. A lot more than we originally thought we were going to have, but seeing as how the page and the group as a whole, it seems to be taking off. we're really, really pumped about that. So, you got anything to add to that, Adam, before we face the nation real quick?
No, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
Let's see what they got.
It's go time. Let's face the nation.
We are the nation of domination.
So let's get right into it, man. Good nation, too. Whoever picked those out outside of myself, that was a smart pick. So let's face it. Let's face the nation. This one's coming in from someone from work. Bruce. Mr. Bruce. Not your buddy Bruce. Another Bruce. He's getting into a little bit of the Patriots topic that we talked about on our last podcast, where you referred to losing Mayo when Gerard Mayo retired from the Patriots. He wants to know why you think losing Mayo is going to hurt the Patriots. He disagrees that it's going to hurt. I don't know if maybe he misinterpreted your answer, but he disagrees that it's going to hurt. He thinks that money saved could be used to extend Jamie Collins or Dante Hightower, Chandler Jones, Malcolm Butler, you name it, and obviously add to the O-line. He also wanted me to make sure that I called him a hashtag Pats Homer, and he also wanted me to add that hashtag Adam washes LeBron's jock.
Oh, that's a good one, Bruce.
But I thought that was pretty clever.
No, it's just the fact that they're obviously gonna have to spend money to replace that position. I mean, it's one of the key positions on the defense, and he's been one of the mainstays on your defense for the last 8 or 9 seasons, minus a couple injury-prone seasons that he's had lately. So I think the glaring hole is obviously the offensive line, and that's where they're going to need to focus, wondering how much they're going to have to spend to replace Mayo, and how much is that going to take away what they're willing to spend on the O-line.
Right. Obviously, with Mayo's loss, you're going to have to, at least find some amount of depth, because, mentally you're not going to be able to replace what Gerard Mayo brought to the field. He was essentially the quarterback of that defense before Devin McCourty became the safety. And, being the quarterback of the defense is obviously a very, very large role. So I think they'll find some people in the draft. I think they'll probably bring in a few free agents and, some that have probably been through the building before a time or two. So I'm not overly concerned. I'm a little concerned, but, it's one of those things where you drink the Patriots Kool-Aid and build your trust. So that's just how I kind of feel about that.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
I got
Good
one
question,
for you.
Bruce. What do you got, man?
My boy Derek wants to know if you could picture in any scenario Tom Brady finishing his career in a different uniform other than the Patriots, much like Joe Montana, Brett Favre, or Peyton Manning.
Ugh. Ouch.
Because all 3 of those quarterbacks were kind of forced out of the organizations that they pretty much brought to the forefront.
Yeah. Oh, this is tough. It's like a yes and no. A part of me would like to think that before it got to the point of Brady being forced out of New England, if that were to ever happen, I think that he would retire. I don't know if it's more of like a pride thing, where you could say that he went on his own instead of being told that the door's over there, you can go play with someone else. I can't really see like Brady really being forced out, like especially at this point. He had arguably one of his greatest years since he's been in the league. I think statistically it was his second best year in the NFL. In terms of who Brady has had for backups, obviously we don't know about Garoppolo, but there hasn't been, a marquee kind of quarterback that they groom and stuff like that. Because with Favre, you had Aaron Rodgers laying in the wings. And, excuse me, in San Francisco, Montana had Steve Young behind him. And who'd you say, Peyton? In Indy, they drafted Andrew Luck. Well, they sucked for Luck originally the year that Peyton was out. So there's not anybody really behind Brady or I even see behind Brady in the next year or two. But if he does leave and goes anywhere, to me, I'd probably see him on the West Coast. That's really how I feel about that. I think he'll retire before it gets to that point. And if they win another Super Bowl in like 3 or 4 years, you might see him retire then. So
I agree with that. The only uniform I could ever see him in besides a Patriots uniform would be a 49ers uniform.
Yep. He grew up a 49ers fan, so.
But I just can't see him going anywhere.
I can't either. It's a good question. That's a really good question. Not one I really want to think about. I still think of him as like a 28-year-old. He's 39.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Couple more years.
Shut up.
Couple more years, he'll put me out of my misery.
I thought you were going to say something bad. Shut up. You leave Tom Brady's name out of your mouth. All right. Those are a couple good questions. Keep all the questions coming in. Like I said, we're still sifting through some. But we'll always take your questions, whether it's via, message or a post on the page or stuff like that. Obviously, you can ask us these questions or anything on the Facebook page, Real Take No Holds Barred Sports. You can ask questions on our YouTube page in the comments section. You can also ask us questions on the Twitter page at Real Take NHB, and even shoot us an email if you want. realtakenhbs@gmail.com. So again, thank you for all the questions, and continue to chime in on the page with everything that you got, and we'll just keep this ball rolling, man. Let's get into some baseball.
It's time to play ball.
Oh, man. I've been dying for this moment, man. Watching my Sox get ready at JetBlue Park. Oh, seeing David Price throw some balls.
I bet if those tractor-trailer trucks had GoPros hooked up on the dashboard or just dash cams, you would sit at your house and watch the entire trip.
Yep.
From Fenway to Fort Myers, wouldn't you?
You got that right. That's what real fans do. I don't know what you got down in Atlanta, but ain't nothing like this.
I told you, man. Low sixes.
Well, still not as good as Truck Day.
No.
Sorry. It's all right. So, how do you want to start?
Down in Atlanta, we can't even fit in Turner Field inside of one of the Red Sox trucks. There's only like 36 people that show up to the game.
You poor bastard. Well, even you said, there might be a chance that they could compete, what, is it 2017, building a new stadium?
So I actually read a little rumor today, but we can get into that when we get to them.
All right. So how do you want to go? You just want to dive right into it and start with the NL East? Because we're going to start with the National League for our first baseball show. Like I said, we're going to split it into 2 segments. We'll get to the AL, the American League, on the next podcast, so be on the lookout for that, because I know there's tons of Red Sox fans on our page. Poor Adam, but it's just how we roll.
It's all right.
So, yeah, let's just dump into the National League East if you're cool with that.
I'm ready to go.
Let's go. So, obviously, people know who's in the NL East. So, we're just going to get into, some acquisitions, some people that re-signed, who they've lost, and just give a little outlook and prediction on their record. So, nothing really crazy about it. So, we're going to start with Atlanta in the NL East. This is Adam's team, obviously. Born and bred. Poor bastard, but that's all right. So, in my little notes, I had Atlanta's key acquisitions as Gordon Beckham, Kelly Johnson, who they had at times last year, Eric Ibar, Ender Inciarte, and Casey Kelly. They re-signed A.J. Pierzynski and Jim Johnson, and they lost a big-time pitcher in Shelby Miller. So why don't you get into some of your notes in terms of that, and then I'll get into mine, and we'll blast off some records for the Atlanta Braves.
Not only did they lose probably their best pitcher in Shelby Miller, they lost Andrelton Simmons.
Oh, yeah, I completely forgot to write that down. That's a huge loss. That's a huge loss defensively, at least.
It is, but we took we took advantage of Arizona, traded Shelby Miller there, and we got a boatload of good prospects back.
Yep. Like you
Dansby
said, you guys have
Swanson.
built up your farm just with these 2 trades.
Yeah, and pretty much what I'm looking at is like offensively, besides Freddie, there is nobody else. I don't understand how Freeman's going to put up any kind of power numbers because I don't think he's going to get pitches to hit.
Very possible. Very possible he might not. We'll see.
I mean, he has no protection in the lineup at all. He might lead the league in walks this year just based on the fact that nobody's going to pitch to him because they're not going to let Freeman beat him. They're going to force the other guys. I mean, realistically, they're trotting out a AAA team.
Yeah, but I mean, it's good. I know it sucks, that they're obviously not supposed to do much this year, but just getting some of these young guys in, see what you got from them. It can't hurt. On the field, it might not look pretty, and the stands, it's obviously not going to look very pretty, but you don't know what you have until you actually try them out,
Yeah, I'm predicting 2 sellouts this year. It's going to be opening day at Turner Field, and it will be the last game at.
Oh, you poor bastard.
In between that, you will probably be able to count the people there on your hands.
And that's just, because if they win, it's like bandwagon jumpers. I can't stand that. Whatever.
Yeah, one thing that I am looking forward to this year is I want to see how Julio Teheran bounces back.
Yep.
He had an over 4 ERA last year. He needs to drop that way down, at least like 3.2, 3.3 area.
Yep. That was really kind of the first note that I had. I just wrote, I think Teheran makes a comeback, and I think he pitches to his potential because he's obviously got ace stuff. Obviously, injuries hurt his production and how good he could really be. I also talk a little bit about Whistler, that young kid Whistler. He should pitch
Matt
well.
Whistler.
Yep, he should pitch well with another year under his belt. Obviously, we talked about the farm system. So if for whatever reason they find themselves in a situation where they're contending, which I don't think they will, they have plenty of tradable pieces, and they have even some major league tradable pieces in Nick Markakis and Michael Bourne, because I think they still add a little bit to most of the teams. But I still, at the end of the day, I think they are still a little ways away from competing. So
Yeah, I could see Michael Bourne emigrated at the deadline to a contending team just to the lineup.
yeah, like a 4th outfielder or something.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I was reading about, you just mentioned about them opening the new stadium and them spending money, and that was the impression that 2017 was going to be the year. Was going to be the year they were going to put money into free agents. But I actually read today it's going to be more like 2019 when Bryce Harper becomes available.
Really?
They only have $40 million on the books for 2019 right now, and I read they're going to offer him like anywhere from 350 to 5.
Oh my God! Really?
Really?
I guess I don't really disagree with it. I can't see him. I mean, there's been rumors about him going to New York for years already. I still think that he's going to end up in New York, but who knows? Who knows, really? It's still a ways away.
Will too.
What's that?
I think he'll end up in New York, too. I mean, just the history and the stadium itself fits him perfectly.
Oh, yeah, because he could turn into his 500-foot pop flies into, a 290-foot home run that looks like it's 400 feet out of the stadium. So, that park suits him very well, like you said. But seeing him in Atlanta, I mean, that'd be great for you. I just don't know how the hell that happens.
It was something like a 10-year, 350 to 375.
That is absurd.
It's ridiculous, man. It's that TV money.
Yeah, a lot of money being floated around. So what do you think their record's going to be, dude?
I got them sitting at about 58 and 104.
I even gave him more credit than that. Holy smokes! I gave him more credit.
They were
than that.
67. Look, they were 67 and 95 last year. They lost their best pitcher, their best defensive. I mean, literally, they're trotting out a AAA team.
Yeah, well, obvious. Like, I don't know. I just think that what they got for young talent and the mixture of veterans might be good because they're obviously not expected to do anything this year. I actually have them at 70 and 92.
Wow, you have them way higher than me.
Yeah, yeah. And part of that was based on how they were last year. I think they were in a lot more games than they weren't. They just didn't have, what it took to really finish games. The bullpen obviously wasn't very good, even when they had leads. So I think they take a step in the right direction. I think Tehran and Whistler are going to be big parts of that. So
I hope you're right and I'm wrong, but I just don't see how they're going to be able to do it in this division.
yeah, well, it'll be a tough division. A lot of them kind of beat up on each other, but we'll get into that a little bit more. Why don't you go ahead and start with the Miami Marlins? Do you have any key acquisitions that you looked at before I get into mine?
Not really. I don't think they did. They didn't do too much.
No, I mean, they didn't do too much. They extended D. Gordon, which was very smart, and they signed Wang Yin Chen from the Orioles to a $100 million deal. And then I had Craig Breslow there because they needed a lefty in the bullpen. But why don't I go?
Pretty much what I look at for the Marlins this year is, can Stanton stay healthy and put up the numbers that he's capable of putting up?
Yep. I agree with that.
When he's right, he's won baseball.
Yep. You've seen him tear the cover off. So
can D. Gordon? Can D. Gordon continue on his path to becoming the best second baseman in the National League if he's not already?
I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, speed's a factor. We'll see as his speed starts to slowly, get out of there. But at this point, he's still young. He's got a great glove. Obviously, the wheels help. They also got Christian Yelich, who's a great young player, and Marcell Ozuna, who struggled last year. I think both of those guys are great young players that they could build around outside of Stanton. So they also have a solid rotation, especially with Jose Fernandez coming back and healthier than he had been. Obviously, I think this team could play. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say that was one of my questions about the Marlins: is are they going to unload Fernandez? And they can recoup a bunch of talent for him. Yeah,
I did have a little bit of a trade note just in my description of the Marlins. And if they really if they had a crappy farm system, replenishing that by trading Jose Fernandez would completely replenish that whole system. Because they're going to get almost potential major league ready players coming back from for Fernandez, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So I just really kind of base most of my analysis, if you will, on the team mostly staying together, which probably won't happen. Like I said about Ozuna, I see him bouncing back. 25 home runs, not impossible. We've seen him do it before. Like I said about Christian Yelich, he's a really, really good young player with tons of potential. I see this team kind of playing spoiler down the stretch. They got a good mixture of talent on that team, and I could just see them messing up someone's playoff hopes come September. So,
wow. So what's the record?
I got them at 75 and 87.
Higher than you. I have them at 79 and 83.
See, you kind of think the same way I do, because they do have a decent mixture of young and veterans. You know what I mean? And they're all pretty good. They just haven't been able to really put it together yet, and not very many Marlins teams have outside of the 2 World Series winners.
Yeah. I think when some of the younger guys get up and they start playing, I mean, this could be a pretty dangerous team coming into September.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I just not too many. If you're in a pennant race, you're not going to want to have a 3-game series with them where you're going to see Fernandez and Chen back to back.
Right.
Especially if Stanton's on hot streak.
Oh God. That guy can hit 500-foot home runs if he wanted to. So you kind of see him the same way I do. You know, a good mixture of talent, and they could make a run. I just don't think they're ready for it yet. You know.
Yeah. I got them as an 8-game improvement over last year.
Yep. That's a little off from what I got, but just thought the same way. So, up and coming team as they always have been. So let's get into the Mets. I shouldn't say former, the reigning National League champions, if you will. I got key acquisitions in Neil Walker and Asdrubal Cabrera. Re-signing Yoenis Cespedes and losing Daniel Murphy and Tyler Clippard. I'll start on them. I think they take a little bit of a dip this year, and a lot of it still has to do with the offense. Yoenis Cespedes was obviously a huge piece that they added at the trade deadline from the Tigers and everything, and obviously that sparked a huge playoff run for them. I just think that, I know Daniel Murphy wasn't, the greatest, but he was a contact hitter. Everybody knows the 7 home runs in 7 games, in a row. So that's why he ended up getting paid first off. But I think they played a little bit out of their ass this past year. Obviously the, rotation really carried them through 85 to 90% of the year. So I see them taking a dip in the loss category, if you will. But where is the production going to come from outside of Cespedes? The offensive production.
Well, we got Granderson, who he hit 26 home runs last year.
Yeah, but what did he bat out? 240?
260.
Yeah, that's respectable.
And they got David Wright coming back. He only played 38 to 40 games for him last year.
Yep.
And
but can he stay healthy?
Lucas Duda. I mean, 1 through 4, they're pretty solid. It's the rest of the lineup that's not very good.
Yep.
But
like getting back to David Wright, though.
Rotation.
Getting back to David Wright. When was the last time he had a full healthy year?
Oh, it was a while ago.
Exactly. So, I mean, I know Duda's a really good hitter, but I don't know. I just think last year they kind of played out of their minds. So,
the rotation is so good with DeGrom, Harvey, Syndergaard, Matz, and Cologne at the 5, and plus one of the key additions they're going to get is Zach Wheeler's coming back from Tommy John. He'll be back around July.
So that might push Cologne into the bullpen.
Yeah, so I mean that just gives them more depth in the pitching rotation. So I mean their pitching is good. I actually have them winning the division again.
Really? What do you have them for the record?
88 and 74.
See, we're about the same, but I don't have them winning this division. I got them at 84 and 78. They won 90 last year, I believe, and I just think that, obviously pitching is going to help them get, to where they need to go. But if they can't score runs, it's going to be a really big problem for them.
Yeah, but I mean, I just look at the division. Not too many stud pitchers in the division. All the stud pitchers are on their team.
Yeah, well, I mean, National's got a couple good starting pitchers, but not nearly, the kind of depth that New York has. And all of them could be legitimate aces in like 4 or 5 years, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, they would almost all 4 of them would be the ace on pretty much any team.
Pretty much any team, yeah. Absolutely. So, I mean, the rotation looks great. Barring some sort of injury, the rotation looks really good. So we'll see if it can carry them all year. If it can carry them all year, they'll be dangerous. I mean, all the Mets will have to do really is score 2 or 3 runs, and what'll happen the rest of the way. So 84 and 78, you got them winning. What'd you say? 90? No, 88. Sorry,
88.
Okay.
And I remember a couple of shows ago we had a Real Take Nation question about could you see the Mets rotation having more than 120 winner. I think you said no.
I said no, but I mean, that doesn't mean if they're going to be successful that they could have, 3 18-game winners, 2 19-game winners, 1 20-game winner,
Yeah.
So, not impossible. Not impossible.
No.
Philadelphia, the Philly. Ugh.
We want to go on to that train wreck.
Yeah. Just for the sake of doing the whole NL East, I did my research. I didn't do a shortcut or anything. I got into everything, and I did not like what I was looking at for the Phillies. Oh my God.
Well, they added Hellickson and Charlie Morton.
Yep.
But they lost Don Brown, who was my favorite player on their team.
Yep.
And they lost Ken Giles.
That was a huge loss, but again, they got some prospects back for him. So in essence, it did help, but certainly didn't help now. I also have Peter Borges, who used to be a kind of a big name prospect, coming out of the Angels, and I put Edward Mujica, who's a solid reliever, but I mean, that's really about all I've got. What the hell happened to Cody Ash? Because he was ripping through the farm and playing really well at third, and now he's what, an outfielder, a backup outfielder?
He plays in Philadelphia.
Yeah, that's the problem.
And they're a disaster. To me, there's 2 things that the Phillies need to do this year. Number 1, they need to find somebody that will take Ryan Howard so they can try to get some kind of prospects.
I thought he was gone last year. There was a chance that he was going to get traded to Baltimore, and I would have done it if there was a comparable, not in terms of stats or talent or anything, but if you could bet, a half decent prospect for him and maybe a reliever, I would have done it in a heartbeat.
I mean, it is $25 million. You're going to have to eat most of, if not all of it.
Yep.
But you got to get something in return to build for the future.
Yep.
And the number 2 thing I think they need to do is get J.P. Crawford on the field. He's their number 1 prospect. He's the shortstop of the future for them. He's pretty good. He just needs to get on the field and get some playing time at the big league level.
He'll eventually get there. I mean, this team is not good, so they have no reason to just let him sit there in the farm and just get playing time there, because this team isn't going anywhere. I got him at a very respectable 60-102. So,
well, I actually ahead of the Braves.
Are you serious?
I am serious. I got him at 63-99.
Oh my God!
No. Excuse me. 65-97.
Really?
Yeah.
Over your Braves? I like the Braves roster a lot more than this one.
I think the Braves are going to get to a point where you're going to see all of the kids on the field.
Yeah, but that's what Philly's got right now. And I think Atlanta's kids are a lot better than Philly's.
Yeah, but some of Philly's kids have a little bit more experience.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I'm done with this Phillies thing. This is brutal. Yeah. Let's move on.
Well, let's move on to the Nationals.
The Nationals.
Your division, so I can't wait to hear this.
All right. So I got key acquisitions as Daniel Murphy, Ben Revere, who they got from the Blue Jays, and to a lesser extent, I got Bronson Arroyo. If he comes back healthy, I believe he could be a solid.
There's that homer again.
No, I look at the Cincinnati days, man. There was quality start after quality start after quality start. I just have it as a key acquisition because it's a low risk, high reward. If he pitches anywhere to how he was in Cincinnati, which was like a 3.5, 3.6 ERA, I couldn't really complain with that as a number 5 starter. And as the key losses, I had Drew Storen and Doug Fister. Drew Storen was obviously their closer before.
That's it?
Yeah. Why? What you got?
My list is a little bigger than that. This is why me and you were going to differ on this. I mean, they lost Ian Desmond, Pfister, Storin. They lost Jordan Zimmerman. They lost Denard Span.
I didn't think
they lost almost 20 wins out of their starting rotation.
I look at Ben Revere and Denard Span as really kind of interchangeable. To me, they're almost the same player. They both play really good defensive center field. They're both quick. They both bat from the left side of the plate. They're both slap hitters. They both got speed. So to me, that's nothing. Jordan Zimmerman, yeah, I don't think he was worth the kind of money that he got. I wouldn't have been upset if my team got him. To be honest, I did forget a little bit about Jordan Zimmerman, but I did have Pfister on there. So I still think they're going to win the division. They're paper champions on the NL East, in my opinion. They're still extremely loaded from top to bottom, in my opinion. You can also add Escobar, who they traded to the Angels. But the reason that I think that they bounce back, for one, is all the talent that they have. Like I said, from top to bottom, they're pretty loaded. Their lineup to the last pitcher in the bullpen, Jason Worth needs to come back. I expect him to bounce back from a very subpar and hurt year. Same thing with Steven Strasburg and Wilson Ramos. And obviously that's going to be behind what Bryce Harper does, who obviously could put up MVP numbers. Scherzer is obviously, to me, the catalyst on that rotation. So I still think that they're going to play really well, and I actually have them at 92-70.
Wow.
Yep. This is what they should have been. This is what they should have did last year. And
Scherzer, Strasburg, and Gonzalez are three pretty good 1, 2, 3 in the rotation.
Yep.
Bryce Harper needs a lot of help.
Okay.
On the offensive side.
That's where I think Jason Worth. That's where I think he comes in. I think he comes back, stays healthy. You know what he can do.
Well, to me, it was a train wreck last year, and the wreck is going to continue this year, especially with Dusty Baker as the manager, because they need more black guys on their team, or Mexicans, or whatever.
Yeah, whatever he said, because black people are quicker, I think he said.
I have them sitting at a nice 80 and 82.
Really? Wow.
I just think the 20 losses out of the starting rotation is going to be so much to overcome, because they didn't really fill the holes.
I mean, I don't think Jordan Zimmerman pitched that well last year anyway, so I think that they could fill that with what they got.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, that's why we're doing this, man. We just don't know.
How many games into the season before Papelbon and Harper are at each other again?
Hopefully, like 2. Hopefully, only like 2 games.
They'd knock each other out. That would be awesome.
That would be cool. I really kind of wanted to get Papelbon back, not as a closer, because I think this was after the Sox acquired Kimbrel. Sorry. I just thought he would have been good to have in the bullpen, towards the end of games. Because, I mean, obviously, look what the Yankees did. Well, we'll get into that. Never mind. I wanted Papelbon back.
But just for the record, the whole Harper and Papelbon thing, I was totally on Papelbon's side on that.
Oh, I definitely don't disagree with that. I think it could have been handled a little bit differently, but...
It could have been, but I don't have a problem with a veteran calling out the young punk
who did not
running the ball out.
Yep. I do not have a problem with that. I just don't think he should have choked him.
Well, Harper shouldn't have gotten his face.
You too close, man. You too close. So
pretty much we have different winners for that division. I got the Mets. You're rolling with Washington.
Yep. But I think on the whole, I think we have a pretty similar outlook on the East altogether. As you know what I mean. The teams aren't expected to really do much. Obviously, we don't have them really doing a whole lot, but the only thing that we really differ on is division winner, like you said, and it's not even by that much, so piss off, I'm right. So, that was loud. So let's get into the NL Central, man. Let's not even mess around. Let's blast through this thing, and we'll get through this.
Bye.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say this is the best division in the National League, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, to me, it's not even close. This will be a fun division to watch. Even the Brewers... No, I'm just kidding. this is going to be a fun division to watch because there's 3 legitimate playoff contenders in this division. So, let's start with the Chicago Cubs. We're gonna start with my Chicago Cubs. We're gonna start with the Cubbies. Why don't you start with your key acquisitions, Adam?
Harry. Let's see. They added John Lackey. They added Ben Zobrist, J.Hay Kidd, and they even got Adam Warren on a kind of a not a big deal. I mean, it was in the Castro deal to New York, which he was the main name in the deal.
Yep.
So I mean, they didn't lose much.
To me,
they spent a lot of money.
They did. To me, the only thing that they really lost, because I wasn't a big fan of Castro, was Dexter Fowler, but they replaced him with a way better version. So.
Yeah, I mean, they spent a lot of money, so we'll see if it was worth it. I actually think that it will be. It just the lineup is so good.
Oh my god, this is
if they can find an actual spot to put Kyle Schwarber.
Oh, they'll keep him in the lineup somewhere.
Yeah, but I mean, they just need to find him a position.
Yeah, well, he doesn't play any position particularly very well, but the bat does make all the difference. And when you guys get the DH in the National League, he's going to make all the difference in the world.
We're not getting the National League. I mean, the DH in the National League. You didn't hear Rob Manfred come?
I didn't. What did he say? What did he say?
He just said that he was putting it on hold.
Oh, it'll happen. It'll happen then.
And then the pitching staff. I mean, when you throw out Arrieta, Lester, Lackey, I mean that's a pretty good top of the rotation right there.
Yep. And to me, Adam Warren is a low risk, high reward in my opinion. Because, getting rid of Castro, they already had a really good shortstop, Addison Russell, and then they got Zobrist from the Royals. So, I mean,
the Castro was more of an addition by subtraction.
Yep. A little bit of a clubhouse cancer, but who they got in return?
He's got a little bit of Hanleyitis.
Oh, cut it out. What, greatness? Is that what it is? He's got greatness?
All the talent, but no effort.
Just in my notes, I put it's a loaded team that adds more to a loaded team. Obviously, Jason Hayward is a young player, still not even in his prime years yet. He's going to be manning the outfield there for a little bit. Obviously, he's got an opt-out. I believe it's after 2 or 3 years, not 100% on that. Signing John Lackey to a 2-year deal, $16 million per year, to me is a very, very good deal. He's 36, 37, whatever. 2 years, still got 2 good years left in him, and that's obviously behind their big acquisition from last year, John Lester, and obviously Cy Young winner Jake Arrieta. So, I mean. To me, it's going to be very hard to pass this team. And just adding on Ben Zobrist, he adds stability to the infield and versatility because he can play really any position outside of catching pitching. So I just think they have the best talent in all of the NL. And to me, the Cubs win this division. Cubs win! Cubs win!
I have them winning the division, too.
I got them
let's see how close we were on record, though.
I got them at 98 and 64.
Yeah, I got them a little higher, 105 and 57.
Wow. Cubs win. No matter how you look at it, the Cubs win.
You just look at Rizzo, Zobrist, Hayward, Schwarber, Russell. I mean, the lineup stacked 1 through 8.
Chris Bryant. Let's not forget about that guy.
I mean, so 1 through 8, they're stacked up. Pitching's solid all the way around.
Yep. I think
they should run away with this division.
I don't know if they'll run away. We'll get into that a little bit more. I think they could use another bullpen arm or two, but that's really any team. So I could see them adding, a half-decent reliever, or probably a good one that's someone like, I don't know, maybe Tyler Clippard if Arizona falls out of contention early, So that makes all the difference in the world. Any kind of bullpen help. So we got them winning the division. We might as well not even go through this whole thing. But we're going to because we're baseball homers. So let's get into Cincinnati and this train wreck. I've got no key acquisitions, and No key free agent signings. They lost Todd Frazier. They lost Roldis Chapman. Don't see a whole lot going on here. I can't even believe I have them at the record that they got.
Well, to me, they need to do two things. They need to move Votto and move Brandon Phillips if he'll take the trade. They tried to trade Phillips last year, but he blocked it with the 5-10 rule.
Yep. And they tried to trade him this offseason to the Nationals.
So, I mean, they need to unload both of those guys and just restock the farm.
Yep. I just in my notes I just put that I can't see them doing much. Offensively, they're talented, but they severely underachieve. They severely underachieve yearly. Jay Bruce and Joey Votto, as well as Brandon Phillips, need to take a trip to the hot tub time machine and get some of their old offensive swagger back. Billy Hamilton has got all the talent in the world, and that was a complete disaster last year. To me, he's got to be able to use his speed to get on base. Throw a few drag bunts down. Just get yourself, back in the game. You can't keep going 0 for 4, 1 for 5, 0 for 3, 0 for 6. Like, you got to do something. And he's got all the talent in the world. He's quicker than hell. Got to do something. Losing Frazier hurts, and Homer Bailey is hurt yearly now. And outside of that rotation sucks. So,
what's your record?
70 and 92, and it should probably be less than that.
I have them less than that. I have them at 55 and 107.
Yeah, I could see that happening. That team is disaster, and we're getting ready to move on to an even worse team. So, Milwaukee Brewers. Oh my God. This is terrible.
You think that the Brewers are worse
than the Cincinnati Reds? I do think so. I
have them a little bit better, but I mean, they added Chris Carter. They didn't really lose anybody.
They added Chris Carter, who can hit 30 home runs and strike out 479 times in 580 at bats. That's what I see out of Chris Carter.
Well, I totally agree with that.
Thank you.
To me, they're another team that needs to make a move. They got to find a way to trade Ryan Braun.
Yep, I have that in my notes.
These teams that have one or two superstar players and the rest of the team is terrible. I mean, obviously they got to move the stars to restock the system.
Yep, I agree. My key acquisitions for them were Aaron Hill, who they got from Arizona. I put Will Middlebrooks because I'm a homer and I like Middlebrooks. I thought he kind of got the raw end of the deal because of Pablo Sandoval. And I also had Chris Carter on there. They lost Gene Segura, who was a pretty young and good shortstop. And they lost Chris Davis as well. So, they, like you said, they just need to completely blow up this team, in my opinion. They need to get rid of Braun, get as much as they can from him. Trade Matt Garza to, a team that's in playoff contention. They could use a veteran pitcher. You could probably get a half-decent prospect for him. But this season's over before it even starts. I got him at 60
I have him
and
at
102.
65 and 97.
60 and 102. So, obviously comparable. This team is absolutely terrible. This team sucks. Like, when I was doing my homework on them, I almost threw up. I literally almost threw up because this team sucks that bad. I hope no one on here is a Brewers fan. Actually, I hope one of you guys on here are a Brewers fan because your team sucks so bad.
Yeah. And I hope that you write us on the page so we, again, tell you this.
Tell me you're a Brewers fan, and I'm going to tell you that you suck. Really bad. I also put in here that I hope Will Middlebrooks finds his stroke. That's not Jenny Dell.
The best part about the Brewers is Harry Doyle.
Just outside. Ball 8. Ball 12. So let's get on to some real in this division. We're flying through this. It's good. It's good. Pittsburgh Pirates. I don't have them really losing anybody big. They reacquired A.J. Burnett last year, and he hasn't re-signed. So I kind of had
retired.
their... What's that?
He retired.
Yep, that's right. He did retire. He pitched really well in Pittsburgh for whatever reason. I don't know what they got in the water there. That park is beautiful, by the way. I really want to go there before I die. I just got more or less for their key acquisitions, some kind of under the radar ones. I got Neftali Feliz, who was a really good prospect for the Rangers there for a little bit. I think what got messed up was when they tried him out as a starter after being a closer for a while. I think he'll find what he lost in Pittsburgh because for whatever reason, it's a fountain of youth for pitchers out there. And I also got Matt Joyce, who was actually a big-time prospect for the Rays for a while. So they got him on a minor league deal, and I think he could be a really good fourth outfielder for this team. And even if someone gets hurt, I think he could kind of spell whoever was playing in the corner for a little bit just to get through it. And I didn't really have them, like I said, losing anybody big. So, what do you got on them?
They didn't lose anybody big. They did add John Neese and Ryan Vogelsong though.
Yep.
And then,
See, that's why we're doing this, man.
You throw them in a rotation with Garrett Cole, who had 19 wins last year.
Yep.
A Cy Young candidate.
An underrated Cy
Young.
An underrated Cy Young candidate, in my opinion, because you never hear about the guy.
And then they got Liriano.
Yep.
At the number 2. So, I mean, they got a pretty good 1-2 punch there. And then to back up the whole bullpen closer, Mark Melanson, he had 51 saves. He led the league in saves last year.
Yep. They got him from my team, and that trade ended up being absolutely terrible. So,
and another thing that Pittsburgh has, in my opinion, they have the best outfield in the National League.
Yeah, Marte, McCutchen, and
Polanco.
Starling. What did I say, Marte already?
Starling
Gregory
Marte,
Polanco.
McCutchen and Gregory Polanco.
Yep. Struggled a little bit last year, but he'll find his stroke. He's young and he's nasty. What do you got them winning?
I actually have them winning a while.
Good boy.
At 92 and 70.
Nice. I actually think that Pittsburgh is going to overtake St. Louis this year. Like I said, they had no key departures. They got a solid rotation. One of the best cores of players in baseball. Like you said before, probably one of the best, if not the best outfield in all of baseball, with, in my opinion, a top 2 center fielder. I got them also winning the wild card as well. I got them 94 and 68, so very close.
Yeah, we're pretty close.
It's a good team, and it was only a matter of time before they came through, All that young talent's got to pay off somewhere.
And just so everybody knows, me not discuss anything about this before the show.
No, I think the only thing that we discussed is that we were running out of time. We had to get all these all written and typed out. However you got to get it done. So we didn't discuss one ounce of this whole thing. So that's real shit, man. Real take. That's what
we didn't do an hour and a half rehearsal before.
Another real take.
Shots fired.
Shots fired at your local big sports station. No names involved. Let's get on to St. Louis, man. I have their big acquisition as Mike Leake, and I didn't really have much else after that outside of they lost Jason Hayward and John Lackey. I mean, I see them taking a little bit of a dip this year. I still see them competing all year. I think getting Adam Wainwright back is going to be a big deal for that rotation because they obviously need it. Mike Leake isn't a bad, I guess, consolation prize after trading Shelby Miller to Atlanta last year. I don't think Mike Leake's the greatest pitcher, but he's solid. He's an innings eater. I don't think he's worth what he got in terms of a contract. But they also got Michael Wacha, who's a really good pitcher. But I think losing Jason Hayward is going to prove costly for this team. I don't think Matt Holliday is going to be able to carry the team. Johnny Peralta is getting old. Matt Carpenter is good, but can he realistically carry a team? we'll see. I got them at 89 and 73, but I mean, it's kind of subject to change. But we'll see. Adam Wainwright's going to be a huge get for them. Obviously,
I actually have
catalyst.
Wainwright as one of my key additions to this team.
Oh, nice. It is true. I mean, they'd had him. They didn't even have him last year, did they? The whole year.
Nope. They didn't have him at all, and posted the lowest ERA in baseball.
Yep.
So, I mean, him coming back is only going to help out. I mean, they did lose John Lackey, but I think, like you were saying, Mike Leake can replace him.
Yep.
They're also going to get Carlos Martinez back from injury.
Very good young pitcher.
But, I mean, like you said, that losing Hayward, they lost Jonathan Broxton and Carlos Villanueva and Steve Cishek.
Yep. And John Jay in the outfield, who was a big prospect for them, but didn't really pan out. But I think he could still be a good player.
Well, speaking of that, I got a player to watch for their team, Steven Piscotty.
Okay.
Going to be a good young player.
Yep.
But I just have a couple questions about him. Like, can Matt Holliday at 36 stay healthy?
Doubt it.
Put up any kind of numbers?
I doubt it. That's what's ultimately going to kill them this year.
And to me, the biggest key of all, when does Yachty come back? There's no timetable on his return.
That is the heart and soul of that team. He
Correct.
owns that team. And if he plays well, that team plays, and they play well too. And without him, that's obviously shown that they can't do a whole lot without him.
No, I actually have them winning the second wild card.
Really? Well, I can see why.
I got 3 playoff teams from the Central end this year. To me, the Cardinals are like the baseball version of the Spurs. It's like every year they're going to win 90.
Don't hear them until come playoff time.
Yeah, so I actually have them at 90 and 72.
Well, we were just one game off. So that obviously means I got a division win or wild card winner coming out of the last division that we get into. So let's get into the NL West, man. We're already an hour through this show. Time flies when you're having fun, man. I love baseball, man.
Sure.
Oh, I love baseball.
Too.
So I'm gonna let you start with this one, man. Start with the Diamondbacks. What do you got?
Well, I got some of the key additions. They added Clippard. I mean, obviously the big one was getting Greinke.
Yep.
They got Shelby Miller, but they paid a heavy price to get it.
Yep. Made your farm system look real good.
They added, yes, it did. And they added Gene Segura in kind of like a minor move.
Yep. I think it was actually a good move for them, honestly.
It was. It just wasn't like a move that was all over the newspaper.
Oh, right.
But I just think that the rotation now, when they get Miller and Greinke in there, so you got Greinke, Miller, and Patrick Corbin, that's a pretty good rotation. You got Paul Goldschmidt, who is an MVP candidate.
Yep. Absolutely.
I mean, other than that, I mean, they're a pretty good team. I have them with a 10-game improvement over last year. I have them at 89 and 73 this year.
Ooh. Same record. We got the same exact record. Yep. And a lot of it has to do with, what you said. Key acquisitions. I had Greinke, Miller, Clippard, and Segura. The really only big loss was Aaron Hill, but he is a shell of himself now. I got them at 89 and 73. I think, the two-headed monster at the head of their rotation is going to make all the difference in the world, and I think it instantly makes them a contender. I think if they get in the playoffs, they can make a run. I don't know if they'll be able to beat teams that have been in the playoffs before, like your Dodgers and your Giants and stuff like that. But the defensively, they're solid. AJ Pollock is a really good outfielder and a really good offensive weapon. But if they're going to go anywhere, it's going to be really based off the rotation and the end of the bullpen. And Clippard and Ziegler are going to be huge for this team this year. So 89 and 73, man, we hit one right on the button. I got them challenged for the wild card all year, and even the division to an extent. So,
well, I got them pretty much same thing, challenging for both, but just coming up a little bit short.
Yep, and it's a step in the right direction. So,
yeah, I think they're one offensive piece away.
I agree. I'm actually kind of anxious to see how Yasmani Tomas does. Didn't really get to see what he possesses. He's got power, he's got average, but for whatever reason, he didn't play too much last year. And when he did, he was off and on, like a typical over the boat guy would be. But I'm kind of anxious to see how that import does. I think he could be. I think he's going to be really well, but we'll see. They, like you said, they could use another bat. So,
they could use. To me, it's some kind of bat just for a little bit of protection on Paul Goldschmidt. I mean, he's ridiculously talented. He's going to put up huge numbers. He's going to be right there for the MVP.
Yep.
They just need somebody else besides him.
Yeah, I can't really put my finger on it. Like a corner outfielder with some power and some
Like
amount
Justin
of average.
Upton?
Yeah, they should have went after Justin Upton. That would have been smart. You know what's weird is for whatever reason I think someone like Nick Markakis would be able to make a difference for them.
I don't think they're going to be trading with the Braves.
Yeah, I know. You guys already
soon.
took him to the woodshed for that, but I mean, someone like that just to add a little bit more stability to the lineup, So we'll see. Up and coming team. I'm anxious to see how they do because I like Greinke too. So
Arizona, as the acting general manager of the Atlanta Braves, I offer you Nick Markakis for Pollock.
Weren't you guys trying? Yeah, you guys were trying to get Pollock in the Shelby Miller deal.
We were. They wouldn't part with him.
You almost got him. But almost is not good enough. Sorry.
No.
Let's move on to Colorado. This isn't going to be too much, but it's always fun to see people play in Coors Field because it's nice to see a 320-foot home run turn into a 497-foot home run. Just for key acquisitions, I got Chad Qualls, Jason Mott, young pitcher and Jake McGee, who they traded Corey Dickerson for, and Mark Reynolds, who has obvious pop but obvious strikeout problems, and Gerardo Parra. I think he's a pretty good outfielder. Good batting average. He's got some pop. So, what do you got on that, man?
I think they lost Justin Morneau. He was old. Not that big of a loss.
Yeah.
The problem is pitching. It's always the problem in Colorado.
You're never going to get good pitching up there. But it's just
No,
it's almost
because
impossible.
no free agent go there.
No, because their stats will inflate the minute that they get there.
And but I mean 1 through 4 in their lineup, they're real good. I mean, you got Charlie Blackmon,
Yep.
Jose Reyes, Carlos Gonzalez, and Nolan Arenado.
Yep.
Who should have been the MVP.
I thought he should have too, but gonna be on a playoff team to do it. Obviously,
he didn't hit for the average that Harper hit for, but I mean he hit 42 bombs and had like 32 or 33 more RBIs than Harper.
Yep. I agree with that.
And Charlie Black, pretty good player.
He's a really good player. That's what made Corey Dickerson expendable, and why they got a good reliever for him. So,
I mean, over the last 2 years, he's averaging like 20 home runs, almost 40 steals, and hits 300 out of the leadoff spot. That's pretty good.
that's pretty damn good. Just to kind of add to that, I think they got some pretty good pop in their lineup. Just like you said, 1 through 4, they look really good. I think some veteran leadership in the lineup is going to be good for them. Adding Mark Reynolds and Gerardo Parra, while it doesn't look sexy on paper, it does add some element of, some protection for Arenado and Cargo and stuff like that. But after that rotation makes you want to just jump off a bridge for them, because any team that features Jorge De La Rosa as its ace is not going to be very good. So pitching is
If Freddie Gonzalez woke up tomorrow with his rotation, he'd slice his throat.
Yep. I absolutely agree with that. Say that again.
And his rotation sucks.
This looks brutal. The best pitcher that they got is their closer, Jake McGee. So, I mean, this team sucks.
I have them a little bit better than they were last year. I have them at 75 and 87.
I got them at 72 and 90. So, I could kind of see them being spoilers. I see them playing well through spurts of the year, There's always some weird shit happening in Colorado. So I see them playing decent ball in spurts, and I see them playing spoilers. When teams go out there to, play them, in October August and September, I could definitely see them being a spoiler for playoff contenders. So, the Los Angeles Dodgers. What do you got for acquisitions there?
Oh, Casimir and Kenta Maheda.
Yep, same here.
But to me, Greinke's the biggest loss of the offseason.
Yeah, those two don't equal Greinke in my opinion. We don't know about Maeda yet, so it could be subject to change. It could be a really big steal, but losing a Greinke is a massive problem for any team.
And they lost Jimmy Rollins.
Yep. I had them re-signing Howie Kendrick and Chase Utley. Did Jimmy Rollins sign with anybody?
I don't believe so.
I haven't seen his name at all. And that's kind of surprising because I think he's still got some left in the tank, in my opinion.
I think so. But to me, a couple things I'm looking for with them. Can Puig stay healthy and play to his full potential?
Yep.
He's another, Hanley-itis guy.
Would you stop it with that, asshole?
Hashtag Hanley-itis.
Whatever.
And they have one of the stars of baseball and Corey Seager on that team.
He's going to be nasty. Absolutely
and
nasty.
He's going to explode this year.
Yeah. You got him as your rookie?
I might. We haven't got that far.
All right. Just in my notes, I got, the Dodgers losing their luster, if you will. You always heard who the hell the Dodgers going to get, who the Dodgers going to get, how much money they're going to spend, how much money they're going to spend. But they lost a legitimate Cy Young candidate in Zach Greinke. But they're losing a little bit of their luster. They're still a solid team. I think what's going to hurt them this year is if anybody gets hurt because their depth is not very good. But if they stay healthy for 162 games, which is borderline impossible in baseball, but if they do, I think they'll be a really good team. But like I said, depth is going to hurt. Adrian Gonzalez should maintain MVP-like numbers, and even Kershaw should be able to keep MVP-type-ish numbers, if you will. Offensively, they're looking for a huge bounce-back year from Puig. If Puig goes, this team will go. And if they can get anything from Carl Crawford or Andre Ethier, that would be a plus for them. So they also possess...
And they got a new manager.
Yeah, that might be a big deal. Dave Roberts, I thought that was actually a pretty smart move. So just getting into a little bit more, they got two young, really good players in Jock Peterson and, as you said, Corey Seager, who are potentially the next best things and next big things in baseball. So we'll see. I mean, the rotation's solid, but Casimir should maintain solid numbers behind Kershaw, but there is some question marks in my opinion after that, because I mean you got Brent Anderson, you got I don't even know how to pronounce his name, but that Ryu pitcher who's coming off injury, so we'll see with them. I actually have them at 90. I have them at 90 and 72, and that's one of my wild card teams.
All right, I have them at 87 and 75 on the outside looking in.
Really? Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if they miss the playoffs, but I don't think it's going to be by that much, honestly.
Yeah, there'll be contenders up till the last week or so, and then they'll fade out.
Yeah, probably. We'll see. I just the top of the rotation is solid, but it's obviously not what it's going to be. I mean, Greinke, I think, is a massive, massive loss. So, and I think that may end up biting them in the ass. So
I mean, when you have Kershaw and Greinke going back to back, you don't get 5 or 6 game losing streaks.
No, never. You get maybe
but
you might
now
get
that
3.
You only have Kershaw, so if somehow you could reel off 8 or 9 losses in a row.
Yep, and they could be under 500. I could see them being under 500 this year if anybody gets hurt, because like I said, depth is going to be a problem for them. So if anybody gets hurt that's remotely key for this team, they could be on the outside looking in, and it could be really ugly for them. And that's like a $300 million payroll you're looking at there. So,
yep.
Let's move on to San Diego. I said San Diego. San Diego. Not too much to talk about here. I got key acquisitions as Alexi Ramirez, John Jay, Fernando Rodney, and who I think should be starting in the outfield for them, Manuel Margot, who they got from the Red Sox in the Craig Kimbrell deal. They lost Will Middlebrooks. They lost Justin Upton. Kimbrell, as I referred to, and Casey Kelly, who you got, who I actually think is going to be a comeback-ish type of player for you. So I thought that was a little bit of a loss for them as well. So,
yeah.
What do you got them at? I mean, just in terms of their outlook.
To me, like as far as like offensively, when is the MVP candidate Matt Kemp going to show up, or is he ever going to show up?
I think he might be done. I mean, I got here that he'll produce, but it's not going to surprise me if he doesn't. I think he's on his last legs. I think, like I said, I think he'll produce, but I think he's on his last legs, and he shouldn't be because he's what, like 32?
Yeah, Rihanna killed him. But
S.O.S. please. Sorry.
They're rolling out Tyson Ross and Big Game James as that's a pretty good 1-2 punch.
And
They're
Andrew
gonna win
Kashner.
some games, but they're not going to compete for a playoff spot. There's way too many holes on the team. I have them sitting at 72 and 90.
Yeah, I got him a little bit better. Andrew Kashner is also a pretty good pitcher as well. So 1 through 3 in their rotation, I think, is pretty solid. So I got them at 78 and 84. I think they'll struggle to stay afloat. They got some good talent, but competing in this division, I think is going to be tough for them. It could be another team that's a spoiler, plays spoiler. I also referred to Manuel Margot, like I said, who I saw in Portland a couple times this past year, who could potentially be a really solid player for this team. Matt Kemp will produce as long as he's healthy, but he hasn't shown any sign of being healthy in the last, maybe this past year. But outside of that, it's been a little while since he's been legitimately healthy. So don't see him doing too much.
With
but
you on Margot, I also saw him in Portland, and he needs to get some time up in the big leagues just to see what you have with him because he has talent.
He'll be good. I believe he'll be really good. But we'll see. I mean, just with prospects, you just never know. It's really a coin flip. So I think they got a good one, but it depends on if they, if he goes through a 0 for 12 spurt, don't send him down. Let him go through his struggles. That's what I can't stand. If someone doesn't produce right away and you send them right down, it messes with their confidence. And that's like, I keep going to the Red Sox. I believe that's what happened with Jackie Bradley because he was their opening day starter at one point, and they sent him down after starting out really slow, and I think that's really kind of messed up his confidence. So
I agree.
Tough to tell. So we're on our last team, man, before we get into our award winners and our real takes for the night. So San Francisco Giants, baby. I got their key acquisitions as Jeff Samardzija, Johnny Cueto, and Denard Span. And even to an extent, Hunter Pence, who's coming back from injury. I don't really have any key losses. I might have missed something, but as I said, I was kind of rushing through it. What do you got on their outlook, man?
I like this team a lot. I
do
actually
too.
have them as the team that's going to win this division.
Ooh, we agree on something.
I think adding Denard Span to play center field, it was going to help them defend.
Yep.
Because it's a huge outfield.
Yep.
He covers a lot of ground.
That only helps Hunter Pence, and it helps Angel Pagan. So.
Yep. And then I look at the rotation, and I'll challenge Real Take Nation. Find me a better starting rotation in baseball, and I'll call you a liar. Baumgartner,
I can't believe
Cueto, Samardzija, Peavy, Kane. You're not going to find a better 1 through 5.
And even Craig Heston, who pitched really, I'm pretty sure he threw a no-hitter this past year. So, I mean, You and I agree on this team fully. What do you got their record at?
93-69.
Nice. I got them at 91-71, winning the division. Excuse me. And just like you said, that rotation, you won't find a better rotation. 1 through 5, no. And even if they played 6, I think that Heston kid is going to be really good. Mad Bum is, to me, is in the Cy Young voting, if you will. I think eventually they'll probably add a power bat. I think they could use one on the corner, but excuse me. I think they could use a power bat, like I said. But, as they showed with the Mets this past year, a rotation can single-handedly get you into the playoffs, and they can almost win you a championship. So,
did you see the Bochy interview at like the little media day that they held?
Yeah.
When some Red Sox fan asked him,
yeah, I put that on the last thing.
Sandoval back.
Yeah, we talked about that on the last thing. You were sick as a dog, so you probably forgot because I brought it up to you. What were you on that? NyQuil? What were you on? Purple drink?
Haterades.
Yeah, I brought up that Red Sox fan at the fan day or whatever the hell it was, asked to take Pablo Sandoval back, and everybody started laughing, but they were all like, "No, please, no, 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 no." So that was pretty funny. So.
Pretty much for just to recap my picks, I have my playoff teams as the Mets, Cubs, Giants, Cardinals, and Pirates win the wild cards.
Okay. Like I said, we think the Giants are going to win that division. I've got the Nationals winning the East. I've got the Cubs winning the Central. I've got the Giants winning the West. I've got the Pirates and the Dodgers as the wild card teams. But that Dodgers one, that really kind of makes me nervous. So let's get into our award winners, man, and then we'll get into our real takes and shut this bitch down.
Yep.
So who do you got as your MVP? Do you have any runner-ups or anything? Because I got a couple.
Well, I actually have a list of 6 candidates.
Oh, good. I got 3. So,
so I guess if I'm forced to pick one, I think I'm gonna go Chris Bryant, just based on the fact he's gonna put up huge numbers on what I think is gonna be the best team.
Yep.
But I also have Harper in there,
Yep.
Paul Goldschmidt,
Jason Hayward.
Yep.
Cespedes, I think he's going to have monster numbers.
I think he's going to have a down year because they got no one to protect him.
I have Arenado, who should have won last year.
Nice. That's your top 6?
Yep.
This is my order, but obviously this can change just obviously by how teams are playing. My number 1 MVP is Jason Hayward. I believe he's going to have a monster year. And the reason for that will be because he's going to see more pitches because of the fact that Chris Bryant and Rizzo are all behind him. So I think Jason Hayward's going to see a bunch of pitches, and I think he's going to see his home run total not necessarily skyrocket, but I could see him as a 25, 26, 27 home run hitter with anywhere from 90 to like 110, 115 RBIs. I see him as an on-base machine, just being a real problem for most teams. So maybe that home run number gets higher. But I also got Paul Goldschmidt. That'll obviously be dependent on if they're a playoff caliber team, which I believe they will. Goldschmidt will eventually, in my opinion, be an MVP at some point in his career because that guy's good. That guy's really good. And not a lot of people know about him. So, and my third, I got Andrew McCutchen. He's already won one before, but he is the catalyst. He's what makes the Pirates go. And in my opinion, Pirates are going to go somewhere this year, and I think McCutchen's going to be a huge part of that. So,
I don't disagree with any of those.
No, I mean, National League will be fun to watch this year. I mean, a lot of people don't like that kind of baseball, but it's a fun brand of baseball. People that don't like baseball don't like strategy involved with skill and athleticism. And to me, that's what baseball's got, all wrapped in one.
The National League is not for your casual baseball fan. It's kind of like your casual football fan wants to see a 49-42 game.
Yeah, that's
your true
unrealistic.
football fan wants to see a 6-3 defensive battle.
I just want to see the Patriots win.
Oh, you homer motherfucker.
Whatever, man.
All right, let's go on to the Cy Young. Who you looking at?
I actually got Mad Bum, man. I think Madison Bumgarner is going to win it this year. I mean, you could really pick anybody on the Cubs. You could pick anybody on the Mets, honestly. But to me, I think we kind of overlook how good Bumgarner is outside of the, that World Series run that they had. For whatever reason, this guy gets forgotten. I think he's going to have a monster season for that team. 22, 23 wins, maybe 3 or 4 losses, a 2.1, 2.2 ERA, something disgusting like that. And following up, I got Clayton Kershaw and really anybody on the Mets. But I listed those two and any Mets pitcher. So who do you got, man?
Great minds think alike, because I also have Bumgarner winning it.
Nice.
And I also have Kershaw finishing number 2.
Damn. We've agreed on too much, man. I don't like that.
But my number from the Pirates,
Garrett Cole.
I think he's going to get 20.
Yep.
And I have him as a playoff team. I think it's going to put him in contention.
As and deservedly so. Because, again, it's another pitcher that you don't hear of. A lot of people kind of overlook Pittsburgh because they've sucked for so long. And I just think Garrett Cole's a really good pitcher. There's a lot of talent in the National League, and like I said, a lot of people overlook it because most of us up here are Red Sox fans, and we expect 1 through 9 to be able to hit 20 home runs and drive in at least 80 RBIs and hit 280 to 300. But I agree with what you say. Real baseball is really kind of based in the National League because it involves a lot more strategy than the American League. But I'm an American League guy. I always have been. Red Sox, born and bred. But as a true a big baseball fan, it is fun to watch a lot of the strategic moves that managers make during the course of a game. So
yeah, I mean, you got your double switches, you got your laying the bunt down to move a runner over.
Yeah.
You got Tony La Russa, who was hitting his pitcher 8th.
Yep. Joe Madden does it now.
Yep. So they get kind of that back-to-back lead off.
Yep. It's just baseball's fun, man. If people just take the time to watch it, you'll appreciate the art of the game. So,
what I don't really understand about it is everybody has a problem with the time of the game. Everybody says, "Oh, the game's 3 hours."
Yep.
Half hours, 3 hours. Every Sunday during football season, these same people sit down and watch a 4-hour-long game.
Yep. But I think the only defense to that is because it's once a week. And baseball games are anywhere from 5 to 6 games a week. So I get it, but as a baseball fan, it's actually my first love in sports, and I put a lot of effort. I wouldn't say effort. I put a lot of energy into Patriots games, and baseball is still my first love. So,
yeah, Patriots lose and you disappear.
No, I don't, asshole.
I don't even dare talk to you.
Oh, yeah, because I'm on the edge of jumping off my roof and maybe breaking my neck or something.
Yeah, I have to get some testicular fortitude and rub it into you.
Whatever, dude.
So let's move on to your rookie of the year.
I don't even know if I say his last name right, but I got the guy that you got from Arizona, Ender Inciarte. I think he's going to play a lot this year, and I think he's actually an improvement for what you got anywhere across the diamond. But I think he's going to be the rookie of the year, and I think he's going to hit over 300. So.
All right, I actually have the Dodgers' Corey Seager.
Yep, he could have a monster year. He could have an absolute monster year.
And close second, I have Steven Matz from the Mets.
Yeah, that's also a good pick.
He's in the rotation.
I kind of went with the underdog on this one, but I like your picks. Those are really good picks. Who do you got as your comeback player of the year?
Adam Wainwright.
Yeah, that's a smart pick. Yeah, I mean he'll probably. If he pitches like Adam Wainwright, he'll be in the top 3 in Cy Young voting again. and pitch his team to 19 to 20 wins, have a sub-3 ERA, and probably coast his team into the playoffs again. But I actually got Yasiel Puig.
Really?
Yep. To me, he might not deserve it just because of all the shit he's pulled this offseason, but he was out a huge amount of games last year, and when he was in, he was terrible. So I got Yasiel Puig winning the comeback player of the year in the NL.
I had Wainwright winning it, followed closely by Hunter Pence.
Yep. Also
He
another
only
person
played-
that missed a lot of time.
Yeah, he only played like 50 games last year. I think he'll come back. And then third place, I had Will Myers.
Ooh, yeah. He was a top prospect for a while, man. It sucks that he's sitting there in San Diego.
He's got wrist problems, but I think he's going to bounce back this year.
We'll see. And to top it off, who's your manager of the year? I got two of them.
I'm going to go Boch.
Yeah. Not a bad pick.
It's Boch or Madden.
Yep, I actually got Joe Madden winning it, and I think Chip Hale is going to come in second with a chance to win it. If Arizona wins, you see a lot of the time, teams that get into the playoffs that either weren't supposed to be there or that haven't been there in a while. You see a lot of those guys kind of winning manager of the year because, a lot of the same type of managers end up winning it. Teams, players on teams that are always going to the playoffs. So I see Chip Hale being up there. As long as Arizona plays well, I see Chip Hale being up there. So,
Do you have any breakout?
I don't. Why don't you get into yours? I'll think of one right off the hip that you got.
Oh, I'm actually going to go with your rookie of the year, Ender Inciarte.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to say, but he's got a ton of talent. So,
yeah, Inciarte. Excuse me. And then I got Corey Seager, who was my rookie of the year.
Yep.
And then another guy that people aren't really thinking of as a breakout player, and it's Jason Hayward.
Yeah, I mean, you haven't I got him as one of my potential MVPs, and I know you do too. But I don't think we've seen the real Jason Hayward yet, in my opinion. We've seen a really good Jason Hayward, but I don't think we've seen what Jason Hayward can do fully.
No, I think when he was in Atlanta and he had a decent lineup around him, I mean, he's still young now, and I think that the first at-bat home run off of Zambrano kind of blew his head up a little bit.
Yeah.
The expectations through the roof.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that.
But, I mean, he's a 25 to 30 home run guy. He just hasn't yet.
I think he could hit more than that. I think he could.
It's possible, and I think now that he's a little older and been in the league, and now he's back in a lineup that's just loaded.
Yep.
And like you said, he's going to get pitches to hit.
Agreed. I like Christian Yelich. To me, he hasn't fully broken out yet. I think that's someone to look out for. I think you'll hear his name a little bit more. And I could throw Manuel Margot in the rookie category for potential rookie of the year because I think he'll be up because I think San Diego will struggle from the beginning. I know I only had them at like 5 or 6 games under 500, but I think it'd be a good idea to get him in the lineup, and I think he can produce. So I think of someone like that. But if I had to pick, I'd probably go Christian Yelich.
I can see that. He's kind of overshadowed on that team.
Well, yeah, but between Stanton and to an extent even D. Gordon, and obviously Fernandez, I think if Yelich can hit like 320, play Gold Glove outfield, why the hell not? Why not?
Yeah, fuck it. It's real take.
That's right. So let's close this pig up, man. Let me get some. We don't really need some tunes right now. All right, man. So, what's your real takes for the night, man? That was an awesome baseball show. I already can't wait to get into the AL. This is kind of what everybody's bread and butter is, if you will, and it's obviously mine. Like I said, huge Red Sox fan here, so obviously already looking forward to it. As Adam and I have said probably 1.5 million times tonight, baseball is our favorite sport. It's one of the greatest sports ever in all of sports. So We obviously love discussing it. We always speak, hypothetical situations. He talks shit about Hanley. I talk up Hanley. We can really go on for hours about this. So anybody that wants to talk about baseball with us, just keep throwing it, because we'll keep catching it, and we love it. So let's get into our real takes, man. What do you got?
I got 2 or 3 of them, actually.
All right.
So we're to start off here. Number 1, I just want to let you know that I appreciate your knowledge of the sport.
Oh, thanks, man. Definitely, I can.
It's nice to have a conversation about baseball with somebody that's passionate about it, like me.
Oh, you're gonna make me cry, man. You're making me blush, making a black guy blush.
So that was number 1. Number 2.
Thanks, man.
I'm looking forward to plenty of debates and arguments with Real Take Nation, aka Red Sox Nation. Because I'm going to pick you guys apart, and you guys are going to pick me apart, and it's going to be fun.
It's fun. It's all in fun. We know that. That was a good take, man. You got any more?
Number 3. I do, but I'm going to leave it alone.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll wait till he's back.
All right, that's legit. That's legit. I'll give you that. I'm just gonna tell you on the baseball knowledge thing, man. I'm actually kind of glad that you said that, because you really kind of took the words out of my mouth. Like, my father-in-law is a huge baseball nut. His brother's a huge baseball nut. My mother is too. But your knowledge of the game is unbelievable. I mean, you've got all the knowledge from people playing in the 1880s, 1890s, all the way up till today. And I could go on for hours talking about baseball with you. So I definitely appreciate you being able to just shoot the shit with me on what I think is one of the best sports, if not the best sport in the world. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
My real take is going to be based really on the National League, obviously. I think Jason Hayward breaks out big time this year, MVP worthy. I just think he's going to live up to that contract, and I don't think he's going to, unless he gets hurt, I don't see him struggling in that lineup, because it is loaded behind him, so he's going to see tons of pitches. So I think Jason Hayward is my first real take. I think he's going to break out in a big way. My next real take is I think Arizona is going to be a contender this year, and it all has to do with the first 2 in that rotation, and even the third one, the young guy, and the back end of that bullpen. So, yeah, I don't think I really... Oh, my third one, I think, excuse me, Madison Bumgarner is going to fly under the radar to an extent, and I think he's going to legitimately... not necessarily run away with the Cy Young, but as long as the Giants play well, I see him winning the Cy Young, and I see him winning it not necessarily handily, but he'll get a good size margin of victory in my opinion. So that's it, dude. That was a great show. Like I said, I already can't wait to talk about the AL. So
of course you would, because that's your Red Sox. The American League is the best way to play.
I went on a hour and a half tangent on the National League, buddy. So
I know, and I'm going to suck it up and do the American League and knowledge on some folk.
Yeah, but my point is, son bitch, that we're talking baseball. So I already can't wait to talk more baseball is all I'm saying. So
that's right. Even if I got to discuss it with a Democrat, it's fun to talk about.
Adam's gonna start going vote for Trump all over this freaking podcast. I can already tell. So
he will make America great again.
So you can expect our baseball show, our AL one, to be out on Monday. So we'll get recording on that here in the next day or so. And I hope you guys enjoy this one. Again, be out on the lookout for the AL predictions and insight on Monday.
One quick thing about that for Real Take Nation: if you guys enjoy giving me shit, you're definitely going to want to check out the American League show.
Adam can take it, man, but he can certainly dish it too. So I think that's what a lot of Real Take Nation is as well. People like to dish it. Adam can take it. Adam can dish it, and for the most part, you guys can take it. So you can find us on Facebook, always. Real Take No Holds Barred Sports. Find us on YouTube on our podcast. Find us on iTunes, SoundCloud. Email us, realtakenhbs@gmail.com. And that's it, man. Great show. Awesome show. So, hope everybody has a good day tomorrow or whenever you listen to this. Good, safe weekend. No drinking and driving. Call a DD if you need one. And just enjoy the weekend. Have fun with your families. So, for Adam and myself from Dirty Ass Basement Studios, have a good day and night, everybody. Take it easy.
Deuces.
It's hardly a secret. You ain't gonna stop trying to get where you going until you reach it. Always had them bars back in the day when the same ones running up on you wasn't speaking. Look at all your achievements. You work hard, so it'd be kinda hard not to believe that. You party every weekend.